As of Friday, the Department of Health and Human Services reported 469 people in the hospital with flu alone in the state, an exponential growth from 219 a month ago. And for some perspective, for all but a handful of days last year, fewer than 100 people were hospitalized with the flu. Joining me on the morning show, Dr. Sunil Joshi, president of the Duval County Society Medical Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce.
So bottom line, you look around you at the number of friends coming down with flu, look at the numbers we just talked about. Influenza is more potent this year, and it's hitting earlier. What's behind the spike? Fewer people getting the vaccine?
Well, there are a lot of reasons behind the spike, Bruce. I think it's important to also keep in mind that the year before the pandemic was actually a really bad year for the flu. And the flu tends to have these ups and downs where you have one bad year, one good year, and that kind of is a pattern that we've seen over the last 20 years. So that in itself can lead to us having a bad year this year. But then on top of that, for the last 2 years, we put mitigation strategies in place. Flu numbers really went down. Now that those strategies are pretty much not taking place anymore, it was expected to see the numbers go up, but it has been dramatic, a little bit earlier than what we typically expect.
So do those who say I've had too many vaccines or I've never caught the flu before and I don't need to get the vaccine, what do you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, if you've never gotten the flu before, you've gotten lucky, okay? So I like to tell my patients all the time, we wear a seatbelt when we drive in our car. Why do we wear a seatbelt every time we get in the car? Because there's been data to suggest that you reduce your risk of a severe injury from a car accident by wearing a seatbelt by 50%. Okay, so why do we get a flu shot? We get our flu shot because if you were to get the flu, your risk of having severe illness requiring hospitalization or ICU admission is decreased by 60%. So again, you don't expect to get in a car accident, but you wear a seatbelt. You don't expect to get the flu. It hits you when you least expect it. If you have the vaccine, you're significantly less likely to require an ICU admission if you got the flu.
And I was doing some research for this interview, and I found an irony here that a natural lack of immunity caused by measures meant to protect against COVID is actually making the flu outbreak worse.
Yeah, and so what we've done the last few years by wearing masks on, socially distancing, not going out when you were sick, really did help to reduce the flu spread in our communities. And as a result, we weren't getting exposed to it, so your natural immunity is down. Again, that's one of those things that if we were keeping vaccination rates up, this would still be less of a problem.
So the holidays are just around the corner. People are going to be gathering again. You're worried things are going to get worse?
Yeah, I mean, and we do worry because it's not just the flu. It's as we've talked about before, RSV has shown itself earlier this year than typical, and we still have COVID kind of in the backdrop there as well. And so we do worry that hospitalizations will go up here throughout the state of Florida. Because remember, people come here to vacation during the holidays, and so that ends up leaving us with the viruses to deal with later. And so we've been fortunate in Jacksonville. Our hospitalizations have not gone up as bad as some other parts of the state, but we do need to be careful.
All right, and for those who want a flu shot, say I don't have insurance, there is a way to get it for free.
Absolutely, and so the FluVax program, which you can see up here, right? The FluVax program has been going on for 3 years now, and this is for folks who do not have insurance. If you have private insurance or Medicare or Medicaid, the flu shot is free. If you don't have insurance, you have to pay out of pocket for it. It's not free. So $35 to $55 a pop, you can imagine how that may keep people from getting the flu shot. FluVaxJax.com, you can get a free flu vaccine voucher, and we'll also set you up with a pharmacy in your neighborhood that provides that for you.
So if you want to find the link to FluVaxJax, if you go to newsforjax.com, on the drop-down menu there where you see it says news, you go to FluVaxJax, and we'll just provide you a link to that voucher. You can get the voucher, and you don't have to pay for the shot. Dr. Joshi, thanks for being here as always.
My pleasure, Bruce.
Take a look, see at the weather.